forward in the struggle, what can be left aside and what we can adopt from one another. So we have guests today, and our guests are, we have Jonabai Laye and Milton Alimadi, and they are here. We're going to be discussing the protests for democracy in both countries. U Voice has chosen to maintain this area of focus right in this time. So we want to exchange protest practices and ideas, what other people are doing differently to see that they remove dictators in both countries, and what we can learn from each other. Because you remember, we are Pan-Africans and Africa is one. We are one Africa. So we are brothers and sisters. So we want to see what we can adapt and what we can take from each other going forward. So we welcome our guests. Welcome Jonabai and Milton. We welcome you to U Voice. We welcome you to the show, and welcome, dear viewers.
Uganda has become a country where ordinary citizens are kidnapped, harassed, beaten, oftentimes disappearing or coming back maimed and or crippled in some way, mentally, emotionally, most especially psychosocially. In just a little over a week since Museveni's illegal swearing in, an estimation of over 100 Ugandan citizens have been abducted, tortured, or just disappeared. 2021 elections, quote, neither free nor fair. Violence continues in Uganda against citizens of opposition leaders, voter intimidation by the state army and police sanctioned the disappearance of over 300 documented citizens. Yeah,
it's really amazing that as we talk, dear viewers and friends of Uganda and friends of Africa, there are many political prisoners that are still imprisoned since November last year, 2020. Since November, the election process, we have still many political prisoners that are still imprisoned and yet to stand a proper trial with a panel of their peers. So what chance do they have? We are here to see that what chance does Bobi Wine's team, or the entire election campaign team was arrested, and including medics who were abducted in March and are still in military detention and have been subjected to military courts, yet these are civilians, as we know, and their families are going through a lot of economic hardship, psychological torture. A lot is happening, and this has changed the lives of many, many Ugandans. So we are here to talk about this because we are the voice, and your voice is here to amplify the voice of those people who are voiceless. So many have not been given bail even after the ending of the electioneering period or process. And 40 prisoners, all these 40 prisoners that are still incarcerated in torture chambers and in prisons, they had lives, they had a spirit, and also a family. So family members of these political prisoners are also victims of the regime's injustice system. They neither have been acknowledged or given a platform to be heard. So we are here to talk about this and many other issues.
To our international viewers who support Uganda's fight for freedom, we're asking that you demand of your legislators, your MPs, your senators here in the US, EU, UK, wherever you're watching us, to continue to stop funding regimes like the NRM, to stop funding regimes that are oppressive to their citizens. We've shared before that the US sends between $2 to $3 billion in military aid and supplies, financial support that is not properly allocated, and instead of using the equipment that the military garners from the US, they use it against their citizens in exchange for Uganda's military aid in areas where there's terrorists, such as South Sudan. Is it South Sudan? Yeah. Yes. So we want to encourage you to have your legislators actually push to stop the funding of these military regimes. As the world watches, Uganda continues to bleed. So please stay to the end of this show where we talk about the actions that our viewers can take to continue the struggle against this dictatorship of Uganda. And we'll also share and talk about, especially this week, the actions that you, our viewers, have taken and the results that we've received just this week.
Yeah, and our friends in Chad are also fighting the same battle. Here to update us on the situation in Chad is Jonabaya Laya. Welcome, Jonabaya. Welcome to your voice. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, David. Thank you, Judith. Thank you, and to all the staff. Thank you for hosting me, and thank you also to Mr. Milton. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for accepting the invite and sparing time to be on the show. So we want you to tell us a little about what you've heard about Uganda. Have you heard about Uganda?
Yes, I do.
Yes, can you tell us the little that you've heard about Uganda, please?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
First of all, I went to school with Ugandans.
Wow.
I had classmates who are from Uganda, so Uganda is my country. But before I move forward, with your permission, is it possible to observe 30 seconds to honor our martyrs of freedom from both countries?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you again for hosting me, and welcome to all our viewers from all around the world. Like I said, I'm from Chad, but I consider Uganda to be my home. I had a personal experience going to school with Ugandans, and we share our experience, about our countries. But Uganda, a beautiful land on our great continents, and my heart is broken for the suffering that my people have been enduring. And we, like you well said it in your introductory words, we're fighting the same battles. I'm upset for my people who are suffering. The basic fundamental freedoms that are suppressed, the families that are harassed on a daily basis. Uganda deserves better. Uganda deserves better because the country is made with great people, and for like I said, it's the same experience that we share. We don't deserve a dictator who can just hold our country's hostages. And I'm very emotional right now. I have no words to describe what I've been seeing going on for decades in Uganda. And I'm just welcome the opportunity to be here to talk more about it, to share experience, and see how we can together as one people get rid of these brutal dictatorships that have taken our country down and have caused so much misery for our people. So again, thank you for the opportunity, and my heart is broken. But I also have a message of hope to share. Yeah. My fellow brothers and sisters, don't give up. We are in this fight to win it, and I'd like to call the youth because I know that about like Chad, Uganda is about 75% young. It has the youngest population on the earth, like in Chad. 75% of people are under 30, and these youths have been disenfranchised. They feel left out. They are excluded from the political process. So I understand, I relate to their concern, but don't lose hope. Get involved. Don't be on a sideline. It's hard, I know, because I came from a country where peaceful protests are brutally repressed. I'll get a chance to come back and talk more about that. But I understand you're doing great work. Don't give up. We are in this battle to win it. We're gonna win it.
That's right.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. And Judy, I would really sense the true spirit of Pan-Africanism rising up. You could sense it, and Genevia's voice as it was, even in the tone itself. So we are.
France still has a tight grip on its former colonies. And after 3 decades of an iron-fisted rule, on April the 20th, Idriss Deby, the late president, was declared dead. Through this death, there was hope, because a youth that has been left out, the youth that lost hope, they saw in his death a window for political change. But quickly, against the will of the people, France interfered to sponsor the coup d'etat in Chad. Macron, when personally, he was the only Western head of state who attended the funeral, and he did a war declaration. He says that France will not let anyone threaten Chad integrity and stability. Not today and not tomorrow. And we're getting more details that now that it's the coup d'etat was orchestrated and sponsored by France. France supported the dynastic devolution of power from father to the son. After 31 years of brutal dictatorship, where the basic human rights and the basic freedoms have been suppressed, where after 18 years of being an oil producing country, Chad is today ranked 187 out of 189 on the Human Development Index by the United Nations.
Wow.
Yet, when the Chadian had hope for political change, France intervened again. And this is not the first time to support a coup d'etat and put a 37-year-old son of the former late dictator in power. This is not acceptable. And we, the people, are standing up. Now, as far as the, so like I said, France sponsored the coup d'etat in Chad. They supported the transitional military council that was put in place and led by Idriss Déby's son, including the fake transitional government that was put in place. As far as the African Union is concerned, I'm in a shame right now to think that such an institution exists to defend the right of the people. The African Union is a piece of garbage, excuse my language. No. But they did support the coup d'etat because of France's influence, of course. This institution has been criticized for years. And with the crisis in Chad, it's clear now that my brothers and sisters from Uganda, we don't have an institution like African Union for the people. African Union, it's a club of predators, of criminals which exist only to protect their interests. It's not working for the people. Here is the thing. What is more dangerous is that through the Chadian crisis, the African Union is setting a precedent, a very dangerous precedent for all the African nations. That's why we must unite it, because this is going to become a rule now. They, through this lack of condemnation and sanction against Chad, they are saying that it's okay to perpetrate a coup d'etat and then move on. So it's not an institution that is there to protect our people. We need to come together, and I may come in later to share more about what is being done.
Yeah, that's...
And you know, at the Africanism level, so that we can work together and defend our people.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's where I was coming to. We understand you had a peaceful protest event by the Chadian diaspora and Pan-Africans in the US last week. We tweeted the flyer in our Twitter group. Please tell us about your plight for democracy.
Okay. Well, that's a great question, David. In my previous intervention, I talked about what Chad is today after 31 years of dictatorship. The people of Chad are suffering from chronic poverty right now. Our oil has been exploited since 2003, yet we are among the 3 poorest nations on earth because of bad leadership. So we can't take this anymore. We demand change, and we demand change now. And in our struggle, we know who our real enemy is France, that doesn't want to let go. That's why we had this protest here in Washington, D.C. on May 14 at the French embassy. It was a great protest. We said that people say that solidarity is African, and we had the solidarity from different African communities. The Togolese were there, the Cameroonian were there, the people from Democratic Republic of Congo were there, the Senegalese were there. It was a great protest, and we'll continue to do that so that the voice of our people is heard. What we did was we still have a lot to learn, but the protest was very creative. As you know, the Sun took over on April the 20th through a coup d'etat. On the 27th, there was a peaceful protest against the coup d'etat, and they fired live ammunition on Chadians, killing about 15 young people. These were young graduates and everything that were killed. So we made a coffin that we put it in front of the embassy during the whole protest. And that image was very powerful. It was related on different platforms, on social media. So it was a strong message that we sent. There were among us that stepped on French flags. Some of us tore the flags apart and things like that to express our disapproval. And there is more to come. It's a legal protest. It's nothing compared to the suffering that French endure our people. Yeah. So we will. I appreciate the opportunity, and the work that you're doing right now. You are uploading also Pan-Africanism to a higher level. Yes, it's all together. It's coming together that we can face France, which is an empire, and then the international community that usually it's silent to our struggle. Wow. And again, my call is for the diaspora also to do its part. don't be on the side, don't be a spectator. And I wanted to finish with this quote by Desmond Tutu, the world-known human rights activist. He said that in a situation of injustice, if you are neutral, you are choosing the side of the oppressor. So let's be united in this fight, in this struggle. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Janabaya. Thank you so much for being with us. And please stay with us, stay on the show. Our viewers may have questions for you, and we really appreciate your spirit, your passion, and your great desire and love for Africa. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
It was just, it's really profound to learn how the African Union tag team with France to support this coup d'etat, and it's the antithesis of what an African Union would stand for. So I'm floored by that. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Milton, I wanted to welcome you back, and I also wanted to ask you if you had anything to, and that you have awesome things to contribute. So I'm inviting you to contribute to what was just shared about Chad.
Yes, thank you once again for hosting me on your very important platform. And as my brother Junabe also recognized, this is a Pan-African platform, which gives us a lot more strength in our unity and collectiveness. And it is very sad to hear of this French neo-colonialism, not even neo-colonialism, but just straight colonialism in Africa. And all Africans should see this as a personal attack, not just on Chad, but on all of us as Africans, this arrogance. How can you go to a country where this dictator just died, was killed, and the citizens want to map out their own destiny? And you come there and you say, you're going to be the one running the show, you know, from France. And so, this Mohammed Debi, who is the son, 37 years old, obviously he's not the one running the country. You know, Macron is the one running the country. He came there and he said, you know, only the leader of a country can say, I guarantee that nobody's going to destabilize my country, you know? So when he said that, it means he's telling people in Chad that I am the president of Chad, because that role, that statement is reserved for the president of a country. But it was the president of France who said that. So that arrogance, we must not tolerate it. So I would like to know from Brother Jonabe, number one, what can outsiders, other Africans such as ourselves, who are interested in the entire continent, what can we do to contribute to the struggle in Chad? And then also, are there any corporations that we can put pressure on? For example, in Uganda, Total, the French company, the CEO of Total, a few weeks ago, he wrote an op-ed article, and he was very critical of the military regime in Myanmar. And he said Total is not going to expand its oil business in Myanmar because of the atrocities being committed by the regime, the military regime in Myanmar, formerly Burma. And I read that editorial and I said, this is complete nonsense. Because after he wrote that editorial, what did he do? He went to Uganda to sign an oil deal for the pipeline with Museveni, with the dictator Museveni. So I tweeted and I put his name there, the CEO, and I said, this is crocodile tears. You're lying. How could you say you oppose abusers, human rights abusers in Myanmar, and then you're going to Uganda to sign the oil pipeline deal with Museveni? But as listeners know, happily, 3 major banks withdrew from that project, and we want to continue pressure against all the other banks. Do not support this Total project in Uganda. We don't want that French neocolonialism in Uganda either. So I'm asking my brother Junabe, are there corporations similar to that that we can also join in putting pressure against them?
Thank you very much, Brother Milton, for this wonderful question. Um, since the beginning of the coup d'etat, we at the diaspora level, we were able to mobilize uh, the African civil society organizations. So we've been able to publish to obtain two declarations. The first one signed by about 77 civil society organizations, and that declaration really had the power. And that's the one of the documents that helped uh, get the European Parliament stand on the coup d'etat.
Okay.
So in contrast to the France and the African Union stand, we are comforted by the European Parliament, and they received that document. That was their first declaration. And then the second one, after the African Union uh, uh, mission trip report, we also analyzed and got the same signature from this civil society organization again, and more are in line to sign this declaration. So that's a huge contribution that we received from other African nations, and I will be willing to share these documents with you, with your platform.
Yes.
And we are encouraging more signature. That's the one way of us coming together to make our voice heard, and it's working. That's one
Very
area.
Thank you for that.
As far as
go ahead.
You can go ahead. Okay. Um, Putting pressure on probably companies. We have telecom companies, and we have banks, and we have retails that are French-based, and we are working on that as well to see how we can put pressure on them. Now that the European Union is siding with the people, they condemn the coup d'etat, and they are calling, even they are studying, looking into mechanisms to freeze the financial assets of the transitional military, the perpetrators of the coup d'etat. So that's one area, and we can see with these different companies how we can come together and put pressure on these businesses and others. The third areas we're exploring right now is it's like I said, the African Union betrays its own charter, because they used to condemn coup d'etat. Period. Right. They did condemn the attempt coup d'etat in Niger. They did condemn the coup d'etat in Mali, and for Chad, they are talking about this exception.
No.
Of a French name. There is nothing like that. You know, the Chad has played a vital role in the fight against terrorism yet, but under no circumstances, we should use this as an excuse to violate, the constitutional framework and all the international treaties that Chad ratified. So in view of the African Union, there is ongoing conversation right now about writing the African civil society charter of the people. And this is something that we have lawyers, we have constitutionalists from different countries working on that now, and I will be willing to have you join us. And we need more Anglophone countries to join in this fight. So I will be glad to share more in details with this, but these are, I hope I answered your question.
You did. I just want to react to your response very quickly.
Okay.
Number one, the EU, no. The EU recommended, the EU Parliament on February 11 recommended sanctions. And France said, no sanctions. Why? Because of Total. So you see how similar the situation is with yours.
Absolutely.
And then in terms of what you just said, the civil society organization that signed that declaration, I would be very happy if you can share that with us. Absolutely. Because I think they can also help with the Ugandan resistance. And then finally, you took the words out of my mouth, because here in my notes that I wrote, I wanted to say something, was that we need a new organization to replace the African Union. We need a new African Union supported by civil society.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure there are millions of Africans in Africa and in diaspora who would support that and make it much more efficient than the current African Union. So I support you on that point, and I want to be a part of that as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
will share all the documents with your platform, and will help us move forward.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. I wanted to ask you, Milton, and thank you. You actually took the notes out of my notes. Great minds think alike, yes? What is, for our viewers who don't know the actual role of the African Union, what is the African Union supposed to be? How are they supposed to be functioning, and how are they failing in their role?
Okay, very good. Well, it's interesting that we're even discussing this now because, as you know, May the 25th is Africa Day, you see? And that date recognizes May 25th, 1963, when African leaders met in Addis Ababa and formed the Organization of African Unity. And the purpose was, just as the name said, Organization of African Unity, but it has not accomplished that unity. In the beginning, they were saying, you know, we should not discuss these borders that were drawn by the colonials because that's going to end up causing a lot of dispute. So that was supposedly what was holding them back. But what emerged very early were two camps. Leaders who wanted immediate unity, led by people like Kwame Nkrumah, and they became what was known as the Casablanca Bloc of Nations. And then you had the other called the Monrovia Bloc. And these were leaders who promoted more of a phased, gradual integration of the continent. So at some point, they realized the momentum was not really picking up. And that is why they created the African Union to replace the Organization of African Unity. And the hope was that the AU would be much more efficient and much more effective in promoting economic and political integration of the continent. But as Brother Jonabe has just outlined, the African Union is now being corrupted by a former colonial power, which is France. He's right. The African Union Constitution requires that if a country has a military coup d'etat, it should be condemned automatically and its membership should be suspended. And there would also be economic and political sanctions. And this was brought in to discourage the military from interfering in the affairs of nations. But now you see France essentially hijacking Chad, but also hijacking the African Union. And it's not by accident. The leader of the African Union now, the executive commissioner leader, is also a citizen of Chad. He used to be the foreign minister and the prime minister at one point. So you know the first person he calls is not Chad, the first person he calls is France. So that is the problem. And that is why we really need to put pressure on the African Union as well.
Thank you.
And the same thing in Uganda. Look, the same thing in Uganda. In Uganda, we also have a military regime. You know Museveni, right? When he wants to intimidate Ugandans, he puts on the suit, right? The military fatigue.
That's right.
And then when he's meeting with the West to discuss borrowing money, then he puts
the
on
hat. Yeah.
Wow, very, very interesting. Thank you so much, gentlemen. And right at this time, we're going to open up a few calls to see if our viewers want to ask you guys questions and to engage in the conversation. So the number for those of you viewers, it's 9+978 413 6249. It's also on WhatsApp, and you can call in and be part of the conversation. This is your voice counts, and your voice matters. So we want you, the common person living here in the diaspora and back home in Chad or in Uganda, we want you to call, be part of this conversation because we are one Africa. So feel free, the number is on the screen, 978 413 6249. You can call in and interact with our, we have a caller right on. Hello. Yes, your name and where you're calling from.
Massachusetts.
Yes, and so we can hear you.
Thank you very much for that show. I want to make a small concern about the African Union. The African Union is no longer a union that serves the interests of the African people.
Right.
But rather, I would borrow a word that's a statement that is in most cases used by comrades. Forgotten the name, but it's a gentleman's club. Now, going to how they've hello?
And so we're having some feedback from your, I don't know if you need to mute your phone and call back again. Yeah, thank you so much. We got your point. He basically talked about the African Union not serving the purposes of the people. Servanthood leadership is not the goal anymore. They're just after their own selfish ambition. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And that was not the vision of the original vision of the founders in the 1960s. And I'm sure Brother Yonabe agrees with that too.
Very, very interesting. So,
Absolutely.
Judy, what do you take out of this? What's your take on all these?
I don't have the words just yet. I haven't formulated the words just yet, but it's mind-blowing to me. Growing up here, we don't know. Here, we learn about the U.S. and the government, how it's run and how different places are run. And so to learn that, there's an African Union, I'm thinking that, it's going to come together to bring peoples together, to cause, for Africa to be to be able to function as one organism, and it's not. We have another caller coming in.
Yes.
I'll pause.
Hello. Your name and where you're calling from?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Massachusetts. I'm back.
Yes, your question.
I think my network went zero and I lost contact with you guys. But I was still driving my point. I wanted to borrow Comrade Julius Malema's statement that African Union is a gentleman's club. They are no longer serving the interests of the African people, but own interests. I was so surprised when the head of the African Union came out and showed his deep concern for the Israel and the Palestine war that is ongoing. And what came to my mind was, where has the African Union been? Why are they so silent about dictatorship, terrorism, kidnaps, brutalization on the African continent? And then I was also surprised when the same person came out and appealed to the Chadians that they should share power with the military. Now, what I don't understand is the African Union, is the African Union actually promoting dictatorship on the continent? Because we all know that the Chadians have a working constitution. Why can't they enforce or push for constitutionalism in Chad?
Right.
That could actually explain why the African Union was not actively monitoring the January 14th elections in Uganda.
Right.
But surprisingly, they were there to read a statement about how they observed and how free and fair elections in Uganda were. So I think I want to buy into my brother from Chad, where he says that it's high time the people of Africa come together and work this out. Otherwise, the African Union is no longer for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So much.
Thank you. That was Nsubuga from Massachusetts. We appreciate you so much. Yeah, so gentlemen, your final remarks on what do you believe or what do you think the Ugandans and the Chadians in the diaspora, those who feel that they are disengaged, they are comfortable here in the United States and in the diaspora, in Europe and all other countries, what's your final message to those Africans who feel disinterested and disengaged?
Well, no, I think more and more are becoming engaged. When I go to protests of Africans coming to the UN, for example, the numbers, even in cold weather, the numbers are big turnouts. And I'm sure this summer, as these issues remain unresolved, the turnout is going to be even much, much larger. When I went to DC a few weeks ago for the protest, we had large numbers. And I imagine this summer we're going to have even larger numbers. And I like the way we're having a convergence of interest. So my brother from Chad has the same issue with the African Union that we from Uganda have, that South Africa has, as the caller just mentioned the name of Julius Malema, the leader of the Economic Freedom Fighters Party. And as I said in the beginning, one of the points I had on my notes, which I'm glad Jonabe also said, we're on the same page. It is us, the civil society and the grassroots, that must create the new African Union. We can call a conference, and even if it's digital, and start creating the structure for this organization. We should not wait. We've given the African Union enough time to function. They've failed, so now we have to step forward.
Wow, thank you so much, Milton. And Jonabaya, what's your final message to all Africans in the diaspora and Africans everywhere who in the struggle? What do you feel they need to do better? Or
let's to my brothers and sisters, let's stand up. There is a movement, and I'm really comforted that more people are there is a real awakening right now. And it's clear that African Union is not for us. It's a corrupt organization.
Yep.
And earlier, my elder brother mentioned that the president of commission is Musa Faki, who is related to a former president. So time is up. The organization that is standing firmly in Chad right now within the civil society. It's called the Wakitama. In Arabic, means time has come.
Yes.
So it's time. We don't have to delay any longer. I'm going to share the information with you, and let's work on creating an organization that will stand for the Ugandan people,
yes,
from the Chadian people. And I wanted to tell friends of Africa, Africanists, Pan-Africanists, that there is no such thing of like being Anglophone or Francophone. Yes. There is no such thing of having a Ugandan struggle. Ugandan struggle is Chadian struggle. Right. Togolese struggle is a Gabonese struggle. We are fighting the same evil. So let's work together. Let's create structures, yes, so we can connect, go to each other, protest. And I'm really, really happy and excited about the platform that you voice offer us right now. I know that I listened to your shows before, Mr. Brother Milton. I learned a lot. Thank you also for the wonderful stuff. Thank you to David and Judith and Ethel and all the staff who give us this platform. Let's move on, work together so we can free our people.
That's right. Thank you so much for your partnership. Milton, I want to come back to you as we're getting to a close. There's a portion in our program where we give actions that our viewers can take. Yes. About 2 weeks ago, the 12th, we learned about the Mercury Senior VP. Yes. Her name is Deidre Stock. Yes. A lot of us, we reached out to her, we tweeted her, we wrote emails. I personally wrote her a good long email, and just a couple of days back, we learned, you also wrote, I'm sure you wrote to her as well, just a couple of days back, we learned that she stepped down from representing, lobbying Museveni. And so this is just a few of the small things that we, not small things, these are big things that we've caused out of our partnership with our fellow Ugandans, friends to Uganda. When we all come together, a fist is harder, hits harder when people come together.
Absolutely.
And so, Milton, I wanted to ask you to share with us. We're gonna pin the link to your Black Star News and your the link that you wanted us to share here in the comments of this show. But Janabaya, we wanted to also get your information, that link that you were going to share, to see if we can link it in the chat so that people can have easy access to it. Can you share that with us?
Yes. I just posted my link.
You posted it?
I posted mine in chat, right?
Excellent.
Yes. But what you just said, that shows you the power of protest. Maybe Brother Jonabe was not familiar with this particular issue that you're referring to. General Museveni hired a big public relations firm called Mercury LLC and paid them $600,000 to do some propaganda on Uganda and to tell, more lies. And Ugandans started protests. Physically, Ugandans went in front of the office of Mercury in Washington, D.C. Mm-hmm. And Ugandans protested digitally also, and that's what she's telling you about. And now, as she just announced, that particular officer who was designated to do propaganda on behalf of Uganda has now stepped aside.
That's right.
Excellent.
So the power of protest is very, and I tell people this story all the time. In Switzerland, the president of Cameroon, he lives in a hotel in Switzerland, you see? So he runs Cameroon from Switzerland.
Wow.
He takes money with him. And one Cameroonian citizen stood in front of that hotel protesting alone every day, until one day the reporters came to him and said, "What is all this about?" The next day the story was in the Wall Street Journal and went all over the world. So don't discount the power of one person.
That's right.
So my message to everybody, all Africans, organize, organize, organize. If you're not a member of a group, please join. If you can start a group, please start one. That is how we'll accomplish our mission.
That's right. Thank you so much, Milton.
Thank you.
Wow, what a wonderful way to sum it up. I couldn't say it any better. So we want to appreciate you so much, gentlemen, here at Your Voice. And dear viewers, thank you so much for being part of the conversation. We appreciate Shannon Harmon, our producers, and thank you, Ethel, for our dear editor. Thank you so much, and thank you, Judy. We appreciate you, gentlemen. Thank you for coming to the show. This is Your Voice.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
Yeah, thank you, Genevieve. Thank you for joining us. And dear viewers, till again next Saturday, same time, same place. We love you. We are one Africa, and # we are removing dictators. Thank you so much. Have a good night. I'm David Chilabida.
I'm Judy Bukenya. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you so much.